Alright, how's everybody doing? This is the Comic Samurai. I want to welcome you to my next video, and tonight we're going to be doing another Let's Rank challenge. That's where we look at a run on a series and assign every cover a letter grade from A to F, and then pick our favorite and award it that special S tier ranking. And tonight we're going to be looking at John Byrne's astonishing run on the Uncanny X-Men. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First up, we got this issue number 113, and this was the very first cover that John Byrne did on this title. It's a beautiful image. I love that battle scene of the X-Men fighting Magneto, and I think it's so fitting that the very first villain they fought is the very first one that John Byrne featured on the cover. My only complaint with this cover is that it seems a little zoomed out, and I think he did that to kind of pose the threat of the environment, to let them know that they're in a volcano and this lava's flowing. However, I wish they would have just focused on the battle, the action a little bit more. I never like when my heroes are falling, especially Wolverine, and he's laying on the ground there, but this is a great introduction to John Byrne's work on the covers, and the first one always gets bonus points. I'm going to give it a very strong B+. Next up, I wanted to show this Marvel Team-Up number 53. Now this one was from January of 1977, so it was months before his cover work on the X-Men debuted. And it features John Byrne interior art, and there is a centerfold image of the X-Men. I think that anybody who laid eyes on that image said, we got to get that artist on the regular title. So it's the first time that he actually drew the X-Men in a comic book, and it's an underrated hidden gem. I love this one. That interior John Byrne art is phenomenal. Next up, we got this issue number 108, and this is the first comic that John Byrne did the interiors in, and it wasn't until 113 that he did a cover. But I just wanted to show this one because it is the first one that he worked on the interiors. That was 108, followed by this issue number 109. And John Byrne's interiors on this one were phenomenal, but he didn't get a chance to do the cover. This great image is done by Dave Cockrum. Now they retold that same story much later in an Alpha Flight comic, and this was John Byrne's chance to do that cover. He retold the same story from a different perspective, but this time John Byrne got to show you what his iteration of that cover image would have looked like. He always complained that Wolverine wouldn't have taken a punch like that. So he got to do his version, and I just think that those two covers complement each other so well. However, I'm not going to let either of them compete in the competition. Now, 109 was followed by this issue number 110, and again, this was a cover not done by John Byrne, so we're not going to let it participate. Next up, we got issue number 111, and while this is one of my favorite covers of all time, it was not done by John Byrne. Next up, we got issue number 112, and the late, great George Perez did this image, and I am so infatuated with this cover. I've never seen one with a sense of tension like that before. Not done by John Byrne. So then we hit that issue number 113, and that led into this issue number 114. And I don't like a melancholy cover, especially when the characters are mourning fallen heroes and they're not really dead. That sense of irony does not work on me in this instance. That black background there with the gray silhouettes of all those who are supposed to be fallen, it's just a waste of time. I hate this kind of cover, and I'm giving it an F. Next up, we got issue number 115, and John Byrne bounced back from that melancholy dark cover to this bright, vibrant battlefield cover, exactly what I wanted. You've got this image of Sauron hovering above the X-Men there, Wolverine under his control, slashing at his fellow X-Men. You've got a fallen Storm in the foreground there. I love this one. It's got the three layers of a foreground, midground, background, the colors, the wash in the background. Everything works on this one. This is how an X-Men cover should be drawn, and I'm giving it my highest possible A ranking. Next up, we got issue number 116, and it continues that story in the Savage Land here, and you've got Colossus and two other characters strapped to a stake there, and the fire burning from below. And I love that Colossus's feet are getting white hot. What happens when that temperature reaches his head there? Can he take the heat? I love this one. It's a beautiful image there, the blue in the background, but it's that illumination on Colossus that really does it for me. I love this one, and I'm giving it an H. Next up, we got this issue number 117, and this is one of my least favorite X-Men covers. However, it was not done by John Byrne, so let's move it on. Next up, we got this issue number 118, and it features Sunfire getting a blast right on the cover. Sunfire was never one of my favorite characters, and it doesn't matter because it wasn't drawn by John Byrne. Next up, we've got this issue number 119 featuring the villain of Moses Magna. But this cover was not done by John Byrne, so we're just going to go ahead and move it on to this issue number 120. The first official meeting between Alpha Flight and the X-Men. And while John Byrne had a big hand in creating that team, he did not do this cover. So we're going to have to move it on to 121, and again, it's a great battle between those two teams, but John Byrne did not have a hand in this cover either. Next up, we got issue number 122, and I absolutely love this image of Colossus being tested in the danger room there. However, it's not an image done by John Byrne, so we're going to go ahead and move it on to this issue number 123. And again, beautiful interiors done by John Byrne, but he did not have a hand in this cover. Next up, we got issue number 124, and again, we've got the proletariat, Colossus being brainwashed. Love this image, however, not John Byrne. Next up, we got issue number 125, and again, we've got an image not done by John Byrne, so we're going to have to move it on. Now, I wonder why he did so many interiors but not the covers. He must have been pressed for time. But this issue number 126 is a great aperture cover, but again, not done by John Byrne. However, this issue number 127 marked the return of John Byrne to the covers, and it featured that villain named Proteus, and he was one of my favorite antagonists to the X-Men. This image, though, suffers from so much pink in the background. Why he decided to associate that color with Proteus is beyond me. I like the image of the other X-Men, but they were just done in green back there. I really wish that this cover would have been colored differently. This is a huge demerit for me, and the best I can do is a D, and it's lucky to get that. Next up, we got this issue number 128, which continued the battle with Proteus. However, this is a cover not done by John Byrne. Next up, we got issue number 129, and this is one of the most famous of the runs because it's the first appearance of not only Kitty Pryde, but Emma Frost, and it's got a great cover with Colossus lifting those mandroids or whatever above his head with Wolverine and Storm. I love this cover on its own. It's a beautiful John Byrne image, and we're going to give it a very strong A. Next up, we got this issue number 130, and it features the introduction of Dazzler. However, this is a John Romita Jr. image. It was not done by John Byrne. Next up, we got issue number 131, and this John Byrne cover is very reminiscent of his future work on the Fantastic Four when he'd do an image of Doom hovering over the team. In this case, we've got Emma Frost hovering over the X-Men there, and I love that battle between the Hellfire Club and the X-Men. This is a beautiful image, and I'm going to give this one a very strong B. Next up, we got this issue number 132, and it continues that battle with the Hellfire Club. It's a beautiful image. You've got the fallen X-Men there, the Hellfire members standing around. Beautiful. I love a battle cover. However, you knew I was going to say it. I never like it when my heroes are fallen, but if you're going to do it because you want to show the strength of the villains. And this one works for me. I'm going to give it a very strong B. Next up, we got issue number 133, and I absolutely love this John Byrne cover. This comic is famous for being the first solo story of Wolverine in an X-Men title. So he kind of goes off on his own, and he fights all these Hellfire minions. It's a beautiful, iconic cover. I love the colors on it. I love the action. Look at the swirling of his claws there, where John Byrne just had the motion moving, and you can feel it's like a wave going through those villains there. I absolutely love this one, and I'm giving it a very strong A. Next up, we got this issue number 134, and it is a very symmetric cover. You've got this central image of Jean Grey turning evil there, and she's right in the middle, and these two sides opposing each other on the edges. You've got this image of the Phoenix in the background, maybe foretelling what's going to happen in the future, but I never liked all this text up there. You've got to kind of read all this stuff to know what's going on. And they just colored the figures on the edges red. I wish they would have done the coloring a bit different. And while this is a dynamic image, the best I can do on it is a B. Next up, we got this issue number 135. It's a beautiful image of Jean Grey interacting with the trade dress there. I always like it when they're crushing it or interacting somehow. You've got that starburst of the yellow going to green in the background, all the fallen figures of the X-Men laying around her. The type is perfectly placed. The layout, I love this comic, and I'm giving it a very strong A. Next up, we got this issue number 136, and Byrne used that trope of the central figure holding a fallen friend there, and all these mourning X-Men around the edge. That trope never worked for me. I never liked that, especially when the fallen character is named Phoenix. I mean, it's right in her name. You know she's going to be back. And this pink background there, I just can't abide that, and the best I can do on this one is a C. Next up, we got issue number 137, and apparently there was some disagreement between Byrne and those in charge on how the storyline should go. In any event, they did decide to kill the character of Jean Grey in this one, and it is a beautiful issue. I love that image of Scott and Jean. They're making their last stand here. However, they put this banner across the top there, and it was kind of something that Marvel was doing a lot back then, and it just ruins the flow of a cover for me. The best I can do on this one is a B, and it's a shame. Next up, we got this issue number 138, and Byrne used that trope of a hero walking away from his responsibilities, leaving the other X-Men in shadow there. This pink background kills me with that green banner there. It's all about the coloring in this one. I absolutely dislike it. The best I can do on that one is a D-, and it's lucky to get that. Next up, we got issue number 139, and I do like the coloring, the placement on this one, how Byrne broke it up into different panels on the cover there, but the central figure is of Kitty Pryde. And she's in this terrible costume, that mask on her with her puffy hair coming out the back. It never worked for me. Everything else is so dynamic and interesting. I want to know what the other stories are, but this central image of Kitty Pryde ruined this one for me, and the best I can do is a C on that one. Next up, we got this issue number 140, and this is how you do a battle cover. Look at the swiping arm of Wendigo there, the coloring on him when it's white with highlights of blue. They've lost the art of coloring nowadays. They would never color a comic book cover like this. But I think it worked. I loved how it looked with Wolverine's brown costume there. The one demerit is this female in the foreground there. She really has a prominent place on the cover, but you don't really know who she is. This is a beautiful one though, and I am going to give it a very strong A. Next up, we've got the famous issue number 141. This is the first part of the two-part storyline called Days of Future Past, and it features the iconic image of a grown-up Kitty Pryde and Logan Wolverine in the spotlight being hunted by the Sentinels, and you get to see the fate of all the X-Men on all those posters in the background. This is a cover that's been homaged a ton of times. I love the deep blue in the background, where if you want to look, you can see the rubble and the despair that they come from. But that yellow spotlight contrasted against that darkness, illuminating those two figures there. And I had to find out why Wolverine had gray stripes in his hair. There was just enough of a difference to really grab your attention. I'd never been more excited to read a story than I was on this one. Although it ended up being a what-if, like a different alternate dimension, you do get to see those characters. They're the ones you know and love, and they do die. In the course of this storyline, it's just an impactful comic book series. I can't say how much I love this comic book, and I'm giving this one a very strong A. Next up, we got issue number 142, and this was the second part of that Days of Future Past storyline. However, it was done by Austin, not John Byrne, so we're not going to let it compete in the competition. However, this is a great image that shows the actual demise of that timeline Storm and Wolverine. It's great to see those two characters meet their end. And lastly, we've got this issue number 143, and this was the last one that John Byrne did the cover or the interiors on, and I gotta say, in my opinion, I think he went out on a low note. It features an image of Kitty Pryde, and she's in one of those callback original X-Men costumes designed by Jack Kirby, and it might have fit that timeline, but it just stuck out here. I didn't think it looked good on her at all. You've got this alien in the background hovering over her. You've got this purple background clashing with the yellow in the trade dress and that mint green banner at the top there. This one didn't work for me, and I just wish John Byrne would have went out on a different note, and I hate to say it, but I'm giving this one an F. Alright, well now that we have them all ranked, let's go ahead and take a look at the ones in the A tier and pick our favorite. Alright, well I gave these 7 comics here an A rating. Why don't we take a look and find out which one we like the best. We got this issue number 115 with Sauron there, and Storm in the foreground. Issue 116 with those figures tied to the stake. 129, great battle cover with the first Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde. 133, solo Wolverine cover. 135 with, the Dark Phoenix Rising. 140 with Wendigo. And 141, that classic Days of Future Past cover. Alright, well I gotta say, it's not going to be this one because of the female in the front, or this one. I don't like a villain being featured. Or this one. If it's going to be the first Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost, at least feature one of them on the cover, and probably not this X-Men because of the blue face there. So it narrows down to this 115 with Sauron, this 133 solo story of Wolverine, and 141 Days of Future Past there. Oh man, which of these am I going to choose? I know that I think in my bracket challenge, this 115 got the win there, but something about it today just isn't speaking to me. I don't know why, but the blue was too similar on it. They should have had some white in Colossus's chrome. His steel skin is the same color as Nightcrawler, and they should have just delineated the two a little more. So it comes down to this issue number 141 and 133. Which one am I going to choose as my favorite? I gotta say, I'm going to go with this issue number 141. I just think it tells such a great story. You've got those posters in the background with the banners on it saying slain and apprehended. I've never looked at a cover before and been so compelled to open it and read the story inside. The colors on it work. It's the perfect framing of those figures, the layout, the colors, everything of this comic book cover speaks to me, and I absolutely love it. I'm happy to give it my S tier ranking. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. Let me know if there's any other titles, writers, artists, or runs you want me to rank. Thanks again, and have a great night. It's so basic. It's a callback to those first...